I picked up my granddaughter from school last week. She got into the car quietly and stared out the window. Nothing was obviously wrong. She wasn't crying, she wasn't upset, she just looked tired. Emotionally. She's 15. I asked how her day was. She shrugged. I asked if something happened. She said no.
We drove in silence for a while. Long pause. Reflective. Then she said something I haven't stopped thinking about since. She asked, "Grandpa, do you ever feel like most of what you do doesn't really matter?" Gentle pause. Slight sigh. I didn't answer right away. I'm 87 years old. I've lived long enough to see the world change many times over. I've seen success come and go. I've seen people rise, fall, and be forgotten. Slow, thoughtful tone, and her question hit me harder than she realized, because I've asked myself the same thing more times than I can count. The difference is this: she's just starting her life, and I'm looking back at mine. Pause. Somewhere between those two places, I finally understood something important. We live in a world obsessed with importance. Everyone wants to feel significant, to stand out, to be noticed. Slightly firmer tone. People chase titles, followers, recognition. They measure their worth by attention, by numbers, by applause. I understand why. I really do. Softening. But after nearly 9 decades on this earth, here's what I've learned. The things that matter most usually feel small when they're happening. Pause for emphasis. Let me tell you about someone you'll never find online. Her name was Margaret. She lived down the street from us for over 40 years. She was a school teacher, 3rd grade, same classroom year after year. She never married, never had children of her own. She lived quietly, gentle, respectful tone. When she retired, the school held a small ceremony, a few co-workers, a short speech, a plaque, some flowers. That was it. 2 years later, she passed away in her sleep. At her funeral, I expected a modest crowd. Margaret was private. She didn't seek attention, but the church was full. People stood in the aisles. Slow pause. One by one, people shared stories. A man said she was the first teacher who believed in him. A woman said Margaret taught her to read when everyone else had given up. Another said she became a teacher because of her. Emotional but controlled, life after life, direction after direction, all touched by someone who thought she was just doing her job. Margaret never tried to change the world. She never chased recognition. She simply showed up, paid attention, cared about the people in front of her. Soft pause, and decades later, her impact was still unfolding. That's when it hit me. We have it backwards. We think mattering means being remembered by crowds. But life is built on quiet moments between people. A conversation that arrives at the right time. A kindness offered without an audience. Being present when it would be easier not to be. Slow pacing. Those moments don't announce themselves. They don't feel important. They feel ordinary. When I was 39, I went through one of the hardest periods of my life. Money was tight. My business was struggling. I was exhausted, ashamed. Low, heavy tone. One night, I sat in my car outside a bar trying to decide what to do next. A man I barely knew knocked on my window. His name was Tom. He didn't lecture me. He didn't ask questions. He just said, "I'm grabbing coffee. Want to come?" Small pause. We sat in a diner for a couple of hours, talked about normal things, nothing dramatic. But that simple moment changed my direction. I went home that night instead of going inside that bar. Pause. Tom probably forgot about that conversation, but I didn't. That's how mattering works. It's quiet, invisible, untracked. You rarely get to see the ripple. My wife used to write letters, real letters, handwritten. She wrote to friends, family, anyone who crossed her mind. I used to tease her. Just call them, I'd say. Soft smile and voice. After she passed, I found boxes of letters people had written back to her. Almost everyone said the same thing. Her words mattered. They carried people through hard times. She wasn't trying to be important. She was simply reaching out. And that was enough. Gentle sigh. Here's what I wish I had known when I was younger. Your life doesn't need to be extraordinary to matter. In fact, chasing extraordinary often makes us miss what's real. Slow, reassuring tone. The world is held together by people doing small things with care. Parents who show up tired. Friends who check in. Workers who do their jobs honestly. People who listen. None of it makes headlines. All of it matters. If you're wondering whether you matter, look closer. Look at the people right in front of you. Are you present with them? Are you kind when it would be easier not to be? Do you keep your word? Pause. Those questions won't make you famous, but they will shape your life. My granddaughter asked if anything she does really matters. Here's my answer. Long pause. Yes, it does. Just not in the way the world tells you. It matters in the moments no one sees. In patience, in honesty, in showing up. Warm, steady tone. That's where meaning lives. Not in the spotlight, but in the quiet work of being human with other humans. And if you remember that, before time slips away, you'll already be living a life that matters